as winner of the Conscious Companies Awards 2025 in the NGO and NPC category, a passionate advocate for integrity and trust, and my next-door neighbour in Marshalltown, as he continues to build Education Town as part of the rejuvenation of the Johannesburg inner city, as part of Josie, My Josie. Welcome, Dr. Taddy Blecher, CEO of the Maharishi Invincibility Institute, as he proves that education can be one of the most powerful tools for conscious transformation. Dr. Taddy Blecher.
Wonderful. Guys, what a blessing to be here. Brenda, how long have I got? I just want to make sure I don't screw this up. 12 to 15 minutes. Okay. Got to tell you about life in the universe in 12 to 15 minutes. We were very, very honored to win this award last year, and so incredible to hear about Agento as well in more detail and the really amazing work you're doing in KwaZulu-Natal. We've got to all thank Brenda for her incredible bravery and courage doing this wonderful thing with the Conscious Companies Awards and the summit today as well. And just to congratulate everyone who's here for thinking about business in the way that we should think about it, with purpose, to change the world with real meaning. And this was the highest award that I think one can win, is because to be conscious is obviously the most fundamental aspect of our lives, and hence should be the most fundamental aspect of business. I'm going to try to share with you in a short time what we do, how we think about the world. Brenda spoke about some of the problems in the world. We all know about the lots of problems right now, but I'm not here to talk about those things. I'm here to really share that I think we really are standing right now at exactly the most exciting time in human history. There could never be a more exciting time to be alive than now. And it's very important that we all take this opportunity and run with it, which we're going to lose if we don't realize how exciting this time is. There's a quote I love, and I think this is the thing that really stops us from doing all the great things we want to do, and it's about fear. And this is from Aung San Suu Kyi, and she says, "The only real prison is fear, and the only real freedom is freedom from fear." And every day we're weighing up, deciding to either go out and do great things in the world, or we're too worried about all the reasons why it might not be possible. At the Maharishi Institute, we've always believed that the human being is the most beautiful thing in creation, and that the real goal of education is not to be this blunt instrument that we all went through, but to fully develop every young person's absolutely massive and infinite potential. And that is a human right, that every child should be able to develop their full potential. And it's each of our own rights. And we set out to prove 100,000 times that there's no such thing as an ordinary human being, that every single human being is extraordinary. And so we decided to create a very radical university in South Africa. And we're proud to say that every free university in South Africa we have set up directly or seeded. And we also set out with the vision that we're not going to base this on matric results. And in fact, even if a student has got like 30% for science and 17% for maths, whatever it is, we're going to open our doors so that those young people could come to university, could get a great world-class education, change their lives, get great jobs, and have a completely different future. And of course, everybody thought we were crazy and that was impossible. And I'm proud to say, which I'll share more about, that we have done it now 25,000 times, of which 70% of those students do not have a matric exemption or a degree pass, so they're not allowed to go into public or private institutions. There's a wonderful quote from Shakespeare in Othello about what it means to be human. And he says, "What a piece of work is a man, how noble in reason, how infinite in faculty, in form and in moving, how expressed and how admirable, in apprehension, how like an angel, in action, how like a god." This is what it is to be human. We're born from this tiny little sperm meeting with an egg, and we grow from absolutely nothing. I remember when my own children were born, and they can't even lift their head. They can't do anything in the beginning, and then you start to see this progress. And we know as human beings we can send rockets to the moon and create supercomputers and all this artificial intelligence revolution that Brenda was talking about. We can do anything. And not only are we amazing, I mean, we really model, we are a tiny little microcosm of this infinite magnificence that is our universe. And that is really the model of real genius is what our universe is. And the scale of this universe is completely staggering. The mind cannot even imagine how big it is. We only know the observable universe, which is 93 billion light years, because that's how far light has traveled since the time of the Big Bang. But the universe is perpetually growing and expanding. And we live, you know, our Earth that we think is so big and so important to us is just, it couldn't be smaller, like a dot of sand on an infinite beach. There's at least 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. That's what we can see. In our Milky Way, which is just one of 2 trillion galaxies. So just imagine 1 of 2 trillion. In our Milky Way, there's 100 billion to 400 billion stars, and our sun is just one of those 100 billion to 400 billion stars. So to believe that the universe is magnificent and infinite is the starting point of life. I mean, it is what we are all part of, and that our incredible bodies and minds are part of. And that's why it's worthy to create an educational approach that is way more than just sitting in a classroom and having to put up your hand to speak or to ask to go to the bathroom and to write these meaningless tests of memorization. It's so demeaning on what a human being really can be. Obviously, it is important to know knowledge and content, that's critical, but it's only a tiny part of what we should be doing in education. So we really set out to try and reinvent the way we think about education, to have very, very different outcomes, and to prove that construct that every human being is extraordinary. Whenever we think about starting anything new, you've got to start with the end in mind. And I just wanted to read a quote that was purported to be something that Steve Jobs said, but actually, he didn't say this on his deathbed, but he could have said it. But he said, in other people's eyes, my life is the essence of success. But aside from work, I have little joy, and in the end, wealth is just a fact of life to which I am accustomed. At this moment, lying on the bed, sick and remembering all of my life, I realize that all my recognition and wealth that I have is meaningless in the face of imminent death. So, I mean, that is very, very true. And this quote goes on, which I won't talk about, where he talks about whether you've got a $30 handbag or a $300 or a $3,000 handbag, or you drive a car of $150,000 or $30,000, or you don't have a car, doesn't matter. It talks about the houses you live in, etc. That's all actually irrelevant, and what really, really matters are those things that Brenda was talking about. What he actually did say, which is amazing, and he was surrounded by the people that he loved most in the world, his wife, his children, etc. Apparently, he just kind of stared past all of them, and he was obviously clearly witnessing something. So it's just moments before he died, and he went, "Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow." So if you read about that, that's pretty amazing. Steve Jobs' final words, and then he passed away. And that reminds me of my mom's passing. My mom passed at 89 last year in November, and I was in the room holding her hand for 2.5 hours before it happened in the Mill Park Hospital. And I went from blind panic in the morning when I came in. They'd phoned me to say, my mom's going really fast, I must get to the hospital very quickly. And when I got in there, my mom was heaving for breath, and she was on a ventilator machine that already resuscitated her. She had actually died and then was resuscitated. And just holding her hand from that time where it started on the Saturday morning, and I was like just in this blind panic of losing the person that I've always loved more than anyone else in the whole world, to the time she died. And she was obviously in panic and struggling to breathe and struggling to survive. Something very, very magical happened. I closed my eyes and I was praying. I read my mom some beautiful religious and scriptures that she really cares about. And just slowly over time, I could start to feel that she was going, but it was like this incredible transcendence fell on her, and the whole room became so unbelievably quiet and holy and peaceful. And this incredible panic in me just started to go away, and started feeling this unbelievable feeling of unboundedness and love. And it was like angels in the room. And maybe that's what Steve Jobs was talking about when he said, oh, wow, those moments just before he died. And in Ireland, they call it pulling back the veil, that maybe just before a person dies, they get a glimpse into what is beyond, and maybe an experience of God or whatever one believes. But by the time my mom passed, I became not afraid of death anymore, I would say, and I just had never experienced something so profound. And she completely transcended into this unbelievable peace. So this is what we're part of, this unbelievable universe, this incredible moment in time, this unbelievable country that we live in called South Africa. And what a privilege to live here and be able to make a difference and a change. How exciting at this time of this incredible technological revolution, which is so unbelievably exciting if you choose not to be scared about it. And I always say in our work, our role is to turn Maslow's hierarchy on its head. Maslow's hierarchy, you start off focusing on things like food and shelter and air and so on, and security and safety. And then as you go up Maslow's hierarchy, obviously later in your life, people get to their 60s, 70s, and they think about finding their life purpose and self-actualization. Isn't that sad to wait to the moment, until you get into your elderly years to start to think about self-actualization and life purpose? And so we wanted to break the paradigm of education and start with that, and start with young people. We go through 12 years of schooling and come out and we've got no idea who we are or why we're here or what our purpose is. And we decided to start this radical approach at university, starting with finding yourself and your life purpose, and then seeing, would we have different outcomes? And the outcomes have been absolutely radical. And so just remember that 70% of these nearly 26,000 students we've educated, traditional universities would not take in South Africa. They would say these people don't have what it takes, they're not smart enough, etc. So we've educated just under 26,000, 70% of whom are women. We've had a 95% job placement rate. 5,000 of them are entrepreneurs. If we take the 20,000 we've placed, their starting salaries combined are 2.26 billion rand. If they never get a salary increase in their whole careers, they'll earn over 82 billion rand. They support 175,000 family members. And so on. And then we've done a lot of work in the national school system. We've been very fortunate to win some amazing awards. Last year, Stanford University selected 12 of the most innovative universities in the whole world. And we were one of those 12, which was an absolute mind-blowing breakthrough for us. They didn't choose WITS or UCT or any of our great universities in the country. They chose only 2 in Africa. If we can achieve our original goal to educate and place 100,000 unemployed kids that are not able to get into traditional institutions, we will be able to put over R1 trillion back into the hands of these very poor families. As Adam was mentioning, we're also working to create this education town in Joburg, which is extremely exciting, going from a city that many people think has died. There are people who live in Sandton, Midrand, who have not been to Joburg in 20 years and 30 years. I always love that when people come back and see the city, because I do believe we can, working with Josie My Josie and all collectively, create the greatest city in Africa, in Johannesburg. So I just want to really conclude what I want to talk about with this opportunity that I do believe is in front of us, which is an unprecedented and unlimited opportunity. We're talking about, in the Maharishi Invincibility Institute, this idea of real intelligence. And artificial intelligence obviously being computers and machines. How do human beings really interact with that? And when we think about this convergence of humans with technology, and this is something really profound that's happening in the world right now, and many people are actually unaware or in denial about it. I mean, there's an absolute tsunami going on in technology now, and it's not just a technological shift. There's been technological shifts throughout time, and human beings always create tools. But this is a civilizational transformation. I mean, I want to really posit that in 5 to 7 years, we will live in an entirely different world to what we've grown up in or known. And we need to think about that and prepare for that. Yuval Harari has written that AI is obviously the most powerful technology humanity's ever created, because unlike previous inventions, it can now make decisions for itself, generate ideas, perform work by itself, and in many ways can extend and replace the human mind on that level of what we know as work and so on. And if we think about things like OpenClaw and Claude's co-work and so on, I mean, probably since about February this year, with this next phase of the agentic era, AI systems can autonomously launch companies, can design products, can write software, can run marketing campaigns, they can negotiate contracts and do all of this, as Brenda was saying, faster than human beings, much, much, much faster. A single entrepreneur, they believe now. I was just reading about a business the other day where two brothers in the States have created a business that's generating $370 million of revenue. They're bringing in $3 million a day. And it's just the two of them and hundreds of AI agents. Our children are going to grow up with these superpowers. I mean, unbelievable superpowers where humans can achieve completely anything. With artificial general intelligence, which now the best thinkers in this space believe by 2030 will be here, where technology can do pretty much anything a human can do. You can use. You'll be able to use AI to solve pretty much every medical issue, etc. And this is so close now. We believe that things like cancers will be cracked and so on and so on. So it's an incredibly exciting time, and ultimately they talk about this idea of the singularity where humans will merge with technology. And in a sense, our cell phones, we are already merging with technology all day, every day. But the most important thing I wanted to talk about, and then I'm done, and Brenda's indicating to me, is it's not about technology. It's about what's much more important, which is about human beings. And we've always had incredible, incredible tools. But now it's about the chance to build a new kind of world and a new kind of life where we can solve all the problems in our country. We can solve food shortages, just reading about children dying of starvation in our country, all of these things. And we've got to get back to basics. And the truth is there's nothing we cannot solve today. There's not a single thing, I believe, that if we were to work together, use our brains, leverage the technology we've got, that should continue to have human beings in poverty, no food, no water, electricity, energy, and anything else. So just in conclusion, our real opportunity now is to get back to basics. And this is the time where humans can focus on enlightenment, and enlightenment being in light, because technology and robots are going to be able to build things and make things and so on. But human consciousness, which I think is the basis of the Conscious Companies organization, human consciousness is something that our ancients have known about for thousands and thousands, or maybe it's millions of years, and passed down through the ages. And ultimately, all of us as human beings are going to want to know who we really are and our deeper selves. And if we could think of it as waves on an ocean, that if each of us is a wave and we crash against each other and we compete with each other, and some waves are bigger and some waves are smaller, and so on. But ultimately, we will all come to the realization that we're all just the same one ocean, and that our greatest longing will just to be back as part of the ocean. And it doesn't matter whether you're African or European or Chinese or black or white or pale or old or young or Mongolian or whoever you are, we all have a soul, and it's yearning to know the higher truth. And this is our opportunity to be those human beings that are fully, fully developed. We are human beings, we're not human knowings, and basically to find ourselves and then use these technologies to solve all the problems that we have in humanity. The only real prison is fear. Our only real freedom is freedom from fear. We have every opportunity now to achieve everything we've always wanted to do. And I just want to conclude and say these beautiful words from the Vedas: Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhavet. May everyone be happy. May everyone enjoy perfect health. May everyone behold what is auspicious. May there be no one who is unhappy. Thank you.